So far this season, the Packers defense has not quite lived up to the expectations that I think all of us had for them coming in to potentially be one of the best defenses in the NFL. They haven't been terrible. They're still the 11th best scoring defense in the NFL, but there have been some concerns these past few weeks, especially last week against the Giants, as well as some moments against the Patriots as well, against Bailey Zappi. And I think after this past game versus the Giants, lots of Packers fans' question was, why does Joe Barry sort of play so passively? Why do we always sit back in zone? Why is Jaire, 5, 10, 15 yards off the line of scrimmage? Why is Eric Stokes so far off the line of scrimmage? Which I think are great questions. And yesterday, Joe Barry actually had a press conference where this was asked a lot by different Packers reporters. And so I want to go through a quote that I think is very telling for Joe Barry, and it really sounds from this press conference. I'll leave it linked down below, the entire thing, because if you want to know what he's really thinking right now, it's like 18 minutes long. Great interview. It just gives lots of insights onto the Packers and what Joe Barry could be thinking and why he's thinking it. But really from these quotes, let me know what you think down below. It really seems to me like he may be open to some changes. And so let me show you this first quote here. So I got this quote from the press conference from a article by Matt Schneidman, The Athletic. So here it is. I think every situation's different, Barry said. We're not just going to go play bump and run, press man coverage every snap. That's not the system we run. But we do have to pick our spots, and we do have to be much more aggressive at times when we can be. I think we have an elite special group that can go get after people and go challenge people and get in their face and be aggressive, and we need to do that. So that sounds to me like after this past week, after rewatching the game, seeing what's happening, probably hearing, I don't know how much coaches hear from the outside and from social media. You would have to assume maybe they hear a little bit. And this week, there have been lots of Packers fans wondering sort of what Joe Barry is doing with this scheme. And right there in that final part of that quote, at first he says, we're not just going to play bump and run press coverage every single time, which, okay. But then he comes in and says, but we do have to pick our spots and be more aggressive. So it seems to me like Joe Barry recognizes that the defense needs to play more aggressive than they have so far this season, especially when he says, I think we have an elite special group that can go get after people and go challenge people and get in their face and be aggressive. So, as I said about Jaire, sitting 10 yards off the ball lots of times, not every time, but a good amount of snaps, just playing off coverage. When you have a player who is so talented, one of the best coverage corners, man corners in the NFL, to not have him playing up there and playing more aggressive a lot more of the time doesn't make much sense. And so it seems like Joe Barry may be making some changes. We'll have to see if that happens come Sunday against the Jets, but I do think it's great news to hear that Joe Barry is, looking at the past, seeing like, okay, maybe we do need to be more aggressive. And so I'm curious to see sort of how this changes the Packers defense, because one of the biggest weaknesses for this Packers defense has been stopping the crossing routes, which it seems like because we're sitting in zone, when you have these, fast wide receivers breaking through different zones, the Packers have trouble keeping up with the guy to sort of pass on to, the other guy who's supposed to cover him, and they have lots of issues stopping those crossing routes. So maybe being more aggressive and being, more in the face of opposing wide receivers, as Joe Barry mentioned, could be something that could maybe throw off, the wide receiver on their routes. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen here. It seems like he's open to making some changes, and we will see if it actually takes place. But I just wanted to cover that real fast. If you want to check out the whole interview posted by the Packers, I will leave it linked down below because you can get a lot more depth into it. But it's just my quick little take on it. But thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more Packers content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.